Hello everyone, it's Adel and Zia here, and we wanted to make a video to talk to you about the new Caregiver program that has just opened up on June 18th. We're really excited about this program because we think that it's a vast improvement on the old Caregiver program, and we think that a lot of people will qualify for it. We did send out a newsletter that gives some of the details, and you can definitely check that out on our website. However, what we wanted to do today was go through some of the major questions that we're getting back. So Zia's going to cover a lot of this information for us. So to start, Zia, what are these two new pilot programs that were released?
So there's two programs, like Adel said. They're called the Home Child Care Provider Program and the Home Support Worker Program.
Okay, and who are these targeted towards?
So like the name indicates, for the first one, for child care providers. The second one is for home support workers, which is generally for individuals that are taking care of adults or individuals with high medical needs in their home.
And how many spots are in these programs?
So each of these programs have a cap of 2,750 applications. So this isn't limited to the number of applicants and their family members, it's the total number of applications that the programs will receive.
Okay. And now the big question, what are the requirements that are needed to qualify for this PR program?
Of course, this is an important one. So with both of these streams, you need to have at least a 1-year post-secondary credential. Now that can be completed either inside or outside of Canada. But if it is done outside of Canada, then you do need to have an educational credential assessment done. Now that's a report that's done by an authorized third party, and it demonstrates what your credential is equivalent to in Canada. The second requirement is proficiency in one of our official languages. The benchmark for these programs is Canadian Level Benchmark 5 in all 4 areas. So reading, writing, listening, and speaking. You also need to have 2 years of work experience in either of these occupations. So either as a child care provider or as a home support worker. And so the corresponding NOC codes are 4411 or 4412. And the work experience has to be done within 3 years from the date of application. Lastly, like with any PR program, the applicants have to be admissible to Canada.
Okay, and what if I don't have this work experience, is there any way to get it?
For sure. So this is one of the most exciting parts of these 2 new streams. An applicant doesn't necessarily have to have the full 2 years of experience at the time that they apply. What can happen is after submitting an application, they'll get what's called an occupation-specific work permit, which will allow them to come to Canada, get the experience, and then finish up the PR requirements.
Oh, that's great. So it also has a work permit stream to it.
Exactly.
Okay. So why don't you tell me what the process is?
Perfect. So the process is a little different than what you see in other economic applications. After an individual has met the criteria, and when I'm talking about the criteria, I mean either the work experience, the education, language, and admissibility, then what ends up happening is they submit their application as long as the streams are still open, and an assessment is done for admissibility, education, and language. If the applicant already has the work experience, then the full PR application is assessed. However, if they don't have the work experience, then what they need to submit is a job offer. With that job offer, like we talked about earlier, they get an occupation-specific work permit so that they can come, get the 2 years of experience, and then submit the rest of the PR application. Now, what the officer is doing is when they're issuing the occupation-specific work permit, they're actually putting the PR application on hold to allow the applicant to get the work experience that they need. And then once they have finished the 2 years of experience, the PR application is taken off hold and a final decision is made.
Okay. I just want to ask some questions about that job offer.
For sure.
So the job offer, are there requirements to it, like wage requirements? Or does the employer have to meet any requirements?
So with the job offer, it does have to be with a single employer, and it has to be full-time, which means at least 30 hours a week. When an officer is assessing the job offer, they're looking to ensure that it is genuine and that it'll be available when the work permit is issued. When they're looking at the offer and considering if it's genuine, the officer is going to look at the wage that's being offered to make sure that it meets the prevailing wage of the occupation and the location that the applicant will be working in. They also look at the employer's financial ability. So will the employer be able to support the wage that's being offered to the foreign worker? The officer is also going to consider whether the applicant is able to perform the work that's being set out in the job offer. And so to do this, they're looking at the applicant's experience. So have they worked as a caregiver before, either if it's paid or unpaid? And they're also looking at the education and training of an individual.
Okay, and I know this is always a question that comes up with caregiver applications because of the old programs. Do I have to live in the person's house? Is it like a live-in caregiver program?
No, you are not required to live in the home that you're caring.
Okay, and now the big question, how long is this going to take to process? What are the timelines?
For sure. So the processing times will differ depending on whether the individual has the work experience already or if they have a job offer and need to get the work experience. That first stage, up to the point where that occupation-specific work permit is issued, the processing time is expected to be 12 months. Then after the individual gets the work permit, has completed the 2 years of experience, and has now submitted further documents to show the 2 years of experience in Canada, that second half processing time is supposed to be 6 months.
What if you're on your work permit and you are looking to complete your 2 years of work experience and you lose your job for some reason? What happens then?
So that's one of the exciting features about this occupation-specific work permit. It's only tied to the type of work. So either as a child caregiver or a home support worker. But there's no employer listed on this work permit. So what you might be thinking of is in the past, LMIAs were needed, so labor market impact assessments were needed, and that meant that an employer was listed on the work permit itself. Now, these work permits, because they're only going to have the occupation, it allows the individual to move around to different employers. So even if they lose their initial job with their first employer, they can get work experience, they can continue to get that work experience with a different employer.
And one of the problems with the old programs was that it was very hard to bring your family while you were working. Has that changed at all?
It has. So with the occupation-specific work permit, you can actually apply to have your family come with you so that they're here while you're getting your work experience. What we're seeing is that IRCC is trying to keep the family together throughout the entire process. So a spouse will be able to get an open spousal work permit, and children will be able to get either visitor records or study permits.
Well, those are most of the questions that we got. I want to thank Zia for going through a lot of that really important information for us. We are really excited about this program. We think that it's a big improvement on the old caregiver, especially the work permit system that required LMIAs. Also, we think that the road to PR is much cleaner under this new system. If you want more information, please, again, feel free to check out our website or contact us and we can set up a consultation. to see if you do qualify. Otherwise, thank you again very much for listening to us, and we hope to speak to you soon about this new program. Thanks, guys.